Live from Liquid Studio Group, it's 3 Men and a Mic with your host, Joe Barron, Gene Belmontes, and the Honorable Javier Montemayor, our closer. 3 minds, 1 mic, 0 filter. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. 3 Men and a Mic starts now.
And welcome back to the second episode of 3 Men and a Mic with your hosts, Joe Barron, Javier Montemayor, and Gene Belmontes. We hope you enjoyed our first show, which was a show about the show, and our segments. We had a caller call in, ask about baked potatoes. It got to see the last episode. That was it threw us for a loop, took us right down memory lane.
It sure did.
But today's show's got a couple heavy topics, and the one we're going to tackle somewhere mid-show is going to be immigration, but from the asylum perspective. It's a big, complex issue, and it's got a lot of components to it. So we wanted to maybe take it like a big elephant and take it, one bite at a time. Asylum, visa overstays, and then possibly looking at the criminal side of what we consider the criminal side, which is those that come across the border outside of the checkpoints and those places. So. But we were hoping to have a couple guests for us tonight to kind of shore up the conversation, but unable to make it. So we're going to roll live without them, and we'll start the discussion about immigration. But first, Super Bowl, Joe?
Super Bowl.
What'd you think?
I missed my fourth quarter pot, but it was a good game. I guess it got better towards the end. Halftime show though.
You like the halftime show?
I like the halftime show. Yeah.
You can ask me about it, and I'll tell you. I'll give you my thoughts. But I want to hear what Javi had to say about the football, because we're football aficionados.
Yes,
three of
yes.
us.
Yeah, no. I will tell you that I was hoping that the game would be a little more competitive. My hats off to both teams. They played hard during the season. We were just having this conversation earlier, and Denver should have been there. We had other teams that were right up there, but I was hoping it'd be a little more competitive. Not run up the score on field goals. Get that. Just the Patriots and the Eagles, and they're the way the teams have been playing lately is just I'm just hoping for a little bit more.
Well, the kicker for Seattle was the league's leading scorer, right? I mean, he kicked a lot of field goals this year.
I think he hit 5
last night,
which is a record. What I understand.
That's right. There you go. So
most field goals in a Super Bowl ever.
For me, I love defense. I've always said that defenses win championships. Offenses get you into the game, but the defense is going to win the championship. And so I was enjoying that part of it. Really happy for DeMarcus Lawrence, former Cowboy, number 0 for Seattle, getting his Super Bowl ring. He admittedly said, I'll never be able to win a Super Bowl ring with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys as much as I would love to. It's not going to happen, so he moved on, and now first year with the Seattle Seahawks, he wins the Super Bowl.
That's a whole different show.
Right?
The Cowboys, yes, and Jerry Jones. Totally different. But, yeah, I'm happy for him. He deserves it.
I thought it was good. And, of course, we talked about the halftime show, right?
Dalton
Oh, yeah.
Dalton was with Minnesota, and he's been a journeyman, in different teams. He was with Minnesota. He won, I believe, 12 games with them, if I'm not mistaken, and they traded him.
He was a journeyman. Five teams, I think. He started off with the Jets, and then Minnesota. I think he was on Carolina with Baker Mayfield for a while, and then wound up here with Seattle and wins the Super Bowl.
That's the way
Goes
things
and wins
work,
it.
man. But this guy was sharp. That guy is a sharp quarterback.
He's been around long enough. He's part of that 2018 class where all the guys like Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, a couple others had come on, and he's the first one to get a ring out of that class. Yeah. So that was pretty impressive. I thought, to see Sam Darnold. I kept telling Josh, my son, that the journeyman's going to show up at some point. The guy who's not done well in all the other places, he's bound to show up somewhere. He didn't show up. He got the good Sam Darnold.
So do you go from talent or to team? Like, did he win it because of his talent, or did he just land in the right team for him?
I think it's a combination of
A little bit of both?
Yeah,
It's at that level, I think. Yeah.
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, you got to realize that maybe the system wasn't right for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't have the right players around him. Offensive line's a big deal. I mean, a lot of people question whether or not Troy Aikman would have been as great without that great line, or
Oh, yeah.
Emmitt Smith
Oh, yeah.
without that great line. But I mean, those guys are great players to begin with.
So talking about the Cowboys now, you brought up Troy Aikman. You know, what's our expectation for next year? You know, and I,
Super Bowl.
you know, for
Better
me,
halftime show, Joe.
For me, it's like a toxic relationship, man. You know, you're gonna get hurt, and you know you're going to you go back, and you keep going back, and you keep relying and trusting, and then you get hurt again, and
It's how do they say it? It's the team you love to hate.
Yeah,
you know,
it really is.
Yeah.
and they
When you
have
think
the
about it.
talent. They have the talent.
Yeah.
They have the money. They pay the players.
Yeah.
They just can't. They just can't combine and make it work. So
Well,
not too sure.
what do you guys think about Dak? He's got maybe 3 good years left in him. You know, that's kind of the window. Does he get there, or is he another Tony Romo? Great stats, but no ring.
You know,
Tony Romo.
You say he's Tony
And I
Romo.
don't think he's ring material.
I look at the management. I look at the general manager, and I say, okay, well, something's wrong here.
Well, I'll
The
tell you what,
talent is there.
I think the
Coaching.
biggest insult that Jerry Jones ever got was somebody told him once that no NFL team would ever hire him as their general manager. I mean, that's got to hurt.
Mike McCarthy is now with the Steelers.
Yeah.
So let's see how that goes. And he's from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So
We'll see how that goes.
we'll see how that works out. But
What was it? Jerry Jones? No. Jimmy Johnson,
Johnson,
quarterback.
the
First
coach.
thing he did when he got the job was what? Got divorced. And he said, I'm going to marry the team. I said, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And he went and he did it. But I think he was one of the ones that stood up more to
Yeah.
to Jerry Jones.
I agree, and I think both their egos were competing, and at some point, the guy with the cash, the guy writes the checks, he makes all the rules, right? That's the golden rule, right? Javi?
yeah,
That's the golden rule.
the guy with the feria gets to
So
make the
back to the halftime show, because I know you wanted to ask me about that. We were talking about it. You had a post out earlier that I was commenting on, and people have asked me, what'd you think? And I said, unfortunately for me, I'm biased. I have two really hard biases, and the first one is that's just not my genre. I mean, it's just not my music.
Start with that.
I'm a big '80s fan, and I like the '90s. I'm country. I like jazz. And it's a pretty wide variety. When it comes to Spanish music, I'm more of a trio guy. Los Panchos,
Okay.
that's kind of the stuff that I like. So, in that regard, you're already at -1. And then, I firmly believe that Bad Bunny and that performance and that whole show was culturally disconnected from the demographic of the NFL. The demographic of the NFL right now is 45 to 55, represents almost 40 some odd percent of their demographic. 46% of it is now women. That's the market they're kind of trying to go after, so I can see them wanting to use a younger talent for that. But the 18 to 45, that first bracket, is still in the low 20s in terms of the percentage of people that are NFL aficionados. They watch the game religiously on Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays, and every day they're in. So I felt like he was a bad pick for the audience. And if you look at the tape, you can see people in the audience are just not into it. They're not dancing. They're not.
What demographic spends more money on the NFL? Hispanics, Latinos?
No, the NFL is 77% Caucasian. That's their demographic. But it's not
Hispanics are Caucasian.
it's not true, but if you look at the age bracket,
Yeah.
the money is in that hands of that 45 to 65-year-old, right? It's a guy who's got the disposable income. He's not tied with building a family and all the things, and it's almost on just everything.
Are
If
you
you
talking
look
about
at
viewership in the form of viewership?
in the form of viewership, yeah,
Because I
for
know
the
that
NFL.
a lot of the younger demographics are your fantasy football leagues,
True.
your more of the betting population. You get a lot of teenagers and 18-year-olds. They're really active in their in their betting.
So what are your thoughts about the demographic? Saying that that the strongest viewership right now is 55 plus. It's actually in some of the research that I did, but their target, and rightfully so, if they want to expand the viewership, is to go after the young people that aren't watching the NFL, a new crowd, the Hispanic
So
crowd.
this
That's why they're
was the
playing games in
most watched halftime show or football game?
football game.
Okay. I don't think it was because of the team.
No, maybe not.
I don't think it was because of the teams that played it.
I think it's more of the
Maybe
Bad Bunny
not.
show.
I think it was more of the Bad Bunny show.
Or the controversy that went with it.
The political, the injection of
Yeah,
political drama.
There was a buzz to it. I mean, you have to admit that I'm still a firm believer that no press is bad press, right? I mean, you got it both ways. I think
So I'll
people
go
were
back to what
tuned
you
in.
said a little while ago as far as my type of music. To be honest, I don't like his music. I never have. But yesterday's, to me, it wasn't more about the music. To me, it was more about the message.
I didn't understand the message.
The
That's how it
message-
was
the
on the
me-
billboard.
The message was more, no. He said it in the beginning. Like, as soon as he walked in, the first thing he says, I am here because I believed in myself. And then he pointed to the camera and went straight to the camera and said, you should believe in yourself too.
Great message.
So there was little messages throughout the whole show, right?
The only thing bigger than, or the
Well,
only thing that can overcome hate is love.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, my favorite part was that Puerto Rico has electricity problems.
Well, apparently,
There you go. Yeah, there you
They
go.
do.
Right.
They have
The little boy sleeping at the chair, right?
That's
I
true.
mean, how many of us have those nephews and that
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
vas a una quinceañera, están todos dormidos,
yeah.
you know?
I'm asleep at the quinceañeras.
You know, so I think it's the music was okay. I'm not a fan. I'm really not.
But that's
But-
what they're trying to do. Going back to your
Target demographic
they're bringing
versus
in, because my kids were watching it. They wanted to see Bad Bunny. My daughter loves Bad Bunny, and she's been listening to Bad Bunny since he first came out.
Yeah.
I personally, I like songs that I can understand the lyrics to, and I
Yeah.
cannot understand Bad Bunny. And I've heard him with Grupo Frontera and doing different duets with different artists, and the music, the beat is good and it's there, but yeah, I'm
not the I mean, not your genre.
and I've got a very vast music appreciation. I can go from
Oh, yeah.
trio to
Country to
country
rock.
to
Yeah.
rock and roll, and it just depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to listen to a trio, at the gym. But I'll listen to even Bad Bunny at the gym.
Yeah.
Sometimes will come out. All right. So, but I thought it was I thought different artists had in my opinion had done different.
It was interesting
Done
to-
okay.
musically because my kids were, three of my kids are musicians. The score, the way Lady Gaga tried to play, that song that she's popular with,
Mm-hmm.
in that rhythm with the the more Latin flavor to it was interesting.
It's a Bruno
To see-
Mars song.
Yeah, it's a Bruno Mars song. To
It's a
try to
Bruno
kind of
Mars.
make
That's
that
right.
work
That's right.
was kind of interesting. But again, a big stage, you want to go out there and do something different. And so for her, as a musical stretch, I think she did okay with that. I
So
think
what
that
do you
was-
think of the guest artists that showed up and sang?
Ricky Martin.
Lady Gaga, Ricky Martin. Was it because of talent or because of Ricky Martin being
Puerto Rico. They
Gay.
were highlighting Puerto Rico. I mean,
Gay.
in the case
Gay.
of
Ricky
gay?
Martin's gay.
yeah,
So,
oh yeah, but
like
that's
were those messages?
that's never entered into my equation. But the fact that he's from Puerto Rico, I think, is one of the reasons why he got
Yeah.
the invite. And
It's Boricua.
he opened the door for a lot of Puerto Rican artists. I mean, he started out with Menudo
yeah.
Yeah,
as a
that's
small
right.
kid and just worked all the way up to where
That's
he is
right.
now, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and he's got some great music. There's a couple of his songs that I really like. Siempre un bolero is one of my favorites, and it's not radio material. It's not a top 40 song of his, but it's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big Menudo fan, but I like Ricky Martin.
Unless you're having it on a Sunday morning after a Super Bowl.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I kind of on the same boat as the game. I like Bad Bunny. I don't dislike Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
But I was kind of hoping for something a little different. At the same time, I wanted to see what the ratings were with the Kid Rock show and the Bad Bunny, and I was kind of okay. How did that? And I think the Super Bowl surpassed.
Oh yeah, no question.
The turning point ratings.
Again, I'm not sure how, and that's probably a good research question on how the Nielsen ratings, because that's who puts this out, distinguishes from those who are actually watching the game, right? That's the 142 million viewers, and those that are actually watching the halftime show. Because once your TV is tuned on, right, it's now more than anything else with streaming services, with cable, their ability to extract that data. And I've often said that all these companies now are extremely data driven. The marketers that are going on, the Coca-Colas and Budweisers of the world, they're extracting data from the user based on subscriptions, live streaming, all of the new technology that's out there to
that would
determine
be
what
a
that
great
is.
question, right? Like up to the halftime was over. How many people switched? Like, did they drop?
Or how
Did
many
they
people
stay?
would just walk away? I mean,
Yeah.
we've ever since I guess the early '80s this way, when the halftime show became something, it was precipitated or preempt primarily because of commercials.
Right.
Everybody wanted to see the commercials, right?
That's right.
That's still
Before the halftime show became a thing, it was the commercials that were a thing.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to see the commercials, and I still look. I mean, being in marketing and advertising, I still gravitate towards the commercials. I want to see the commercials.
Very creative and very
Yeah,
very
some creative stuff. Although I don't know about that Dunkin' commercial. That was pretty funny, but if you watch Good Will Hunting, that was a good take on that. But
Yeah.
all right, we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors that are sponsoring the show. We'll be right back after this brief commercial message.
Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life.
One made an appearance at the Super Bowl halftime show. Joe, who was it?
I think she was a student at Cigarroa High School, the violinist.
That one she's kind of facing Bad Bunny at some point.
At
Kind of,
one
he
point,
walks up to her.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Somebody had sent that to us. What was her name?
Rebecca de Luna.
Rebecca de Luna from Cigarroa High School, making Laredo proud at the halftime show.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah, congratulations to her and all of those folks who helped pave the way for her to be there.
Yeah, Laredo proud.
Laredo proud.
Proud.
Speaking of Laredo proud, right now Laredo's going through, these big discussions about border security, right? And Laredo's at the forefront, and we are driving a lot of the conversations because of our relationship with the USMCA, what used to be NAFTA, the bridges, the wall, and the sheer fact that we process, not necessarily have them cross here, right, Joe?
Correct.
We process a lot of the folks who are either seeking asylum or have come across illegally outside of the ports of entry. We don't deal a lot with the visa overstays. I think that's being handled elsewhere. But when we wanted to talk about immigration, we said let's tackle asylum.
Correct.
Mainly because in our last show we talked about that tip that a lot of the folks who are now in Minnesota, the Somalis, in the late 90s were processed right here through the port of Laredo. And then, of course, they made their way to Minnesota.
There were settlements.
Yeah.
There were settlements. They came under the Clinton administration. There was, and I guess we got to go back and I guess identify or define what asylum is.
And that was I think that's a great question, Javi. Maybe you can kind of walk us through it from your legal perspective. What is that? I mean, when someone's seeking asylum, what in essence is the process? What are they doing?
So, well, I guess I'll put a little context to it. The United States is a leader, a global leader, and asylum basically took shape right after, I guess, World War II, because it started becoming really difficult for a global leader like the United States to just stay silent in spite of all the atrocities that were happening in the Holocaust, to the Holocaust victims, the Jewish people. And so, so constitutional amendments, the Immigration Nationality Act, other governmental bills and legislations came through. And so now anybody who, you can be in the United States and apply for asylum, or you can show up at the border and apply for asylum. But it's a protection, essentially. It's a protection from retribution based on, race, national origin, political beliefs. There's a few others that protect them. And so, you look at it like after the Vietnam era, Cubans in the 60s when they came to Miami, they were fleeing from Castro, and so, but it's taken shape and it's changed over the years, and now with Trump, it's basically taken some type of reformation. A lot of the rules that existed before, a lot of the ones who were coming in before, are not necessarily being allowed to come in anymore. And so, Joe, you have a lot of experience on dealing with these.
Asylum, the way in simple terms, is you're fleeing your country like a political reason. You can't leave because, or you can't ask for asylum if you're fearing the cartels.
Right.
You have to say it's a government, that you're fleeing your own government. You're fleeing your
Even though fleeing a cartel is almost,
yeah.
There's persecution that's happening to folks that are, maybe a family member was involved, and all the other family members are at risk.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is how you approach it, right? There's a big conversation on if you come in through a bridge, you ask for asylum, right? But I think the law allows you that as soon as you touch water, as soon as you touch the river, right, you can ask for asylum there, right? So that's where a lot of people ask for the asylum. You get to a low crossing point of the river. As soon as you touch the river, Border Patrol's there. You say, "I'm seeking asylum."
But is that the rule? Is that the law? Or is that just how it's being handled because the previous administrations were handling it that way? When the law clearly says if you're going to ask for asylum, there are certain rules you have to follow. And Counselor, correct me if I'm wrong. If this individual's coming from Venezuela, we'll use them as a good example because they can walk their way here, so to speak, right? They can go from Venezuela through Panama up through Latin America, come to Mexico, and then the U.S. The rules state that if you are fleeing a country, that you must stop at the very first country that is not in conflict.
It can't be your neighboring country.
And you can ask for asylum. So assuming if it's Venezuela, let's say Panama is the next country available, but then Costa Rica comes up. You could ask for asylum in Costa Rica. In fact, the rules say that you should ask, and if they reject you, then you go to the next one and so on until you come to the U.S. But many of them are just coming straight through. They've never sought asylum anywhere else, just at the U.S.
You also got to look at it as this became a business for people coming this way, right?
You're talking about cartels, or you're talking about or just smugglers in general?
Yeah, just smugglers in general, right?
Yeah.
It became a business.
True.
It's more money in that than there is in drugs.
Oh,
right?
That's true.
You're anybody that shows up needs protection to cross the countries, right? So you're talking about anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000 per person.
Wow.
Per person.
And it's every year there is some asylum given, and But under the current administration, the border has been declared an emergency, I guess,
State of emergency.
state of emergency situation where now they're really particular. They're not processing as many, from what I understand, as many asylum applications as they used to, and you have a year once there's people who are currently in the United States who they have a year after they've arrived to seek asylum, to make that
Determination or
application. That application. And there has to be a fear. They even have fear hearings now that there has to be a fear of persecution. There has to be a genuine reason for them to seek asylum. So, so from what I understand, there's two aspects. There's the foreign policy aspect,
Right.
and then you've got your humanitarian aspect of it. And so, and the research I've done on some of these issues, and I'm not an immigration attorney by any means, but there is also, the economic benefit of the individuals who are here via their asylum, and they contribute in the billions to the economy, from what I understand. And so,
In a lot of cases, though, a lot of that is done under the table, and that's one of the reasons why there's been such a big debate about depressed wages and jobs that they usually take. But asylum seekers, typically, that's not the group that's doing that. In a lot of cases, they truly are fleeing a persecution of sorts, either religious or political, or but not economic. The economic ones are probably in that category, that last category that we'll talk about at some point. They just come across. They're just looking for a better life. They're going to violate all our immigration laws and get in here as soon as they can, because unlike in the 1914s when open immigration kind of ended, Ellis Island, all those things, there was no welfare state. When you came over, you had to contribute. You had to learn the language. You had to assimilate. But now, post 30s, now you have the welfare state, and a lot of them are coming over and say, well, I can get benefits right away, even though they say, well, no benefits are given to you. You still have the benefit of an emergency room that'll take you. You have the benefit of a school district that'll educate you, and in a lot of cases, again, one of the things that you and I have talked about, and I feel real strong about, is people will hire you and pay you a substandard wage, and I think the employer should bear the brunt of that penalty.
are you talking about asylum seekers or
No, just in that last category, the general
undocumented alien coming across?
undocumented alien coming across. Your asylum seekers typically have a plan. They already, they've figured out a way to get out of their country, smuggle themselves out, and come to the United States and ask for asylum. And they're willing to make a contribution. But in either foreign policy or economic policy, how many of those folks can you take, right? And they set up, in old days it was quotas, now it's just, they say we're going to issue X number of visas this year, X number of visas next year. Per segment, right?
Yeah,
HB1s or whatever they may be.
So, under the asylum seekers, if they are granted asylum, they can obtain Social Securities. They can work legally. They have a pathway to citizenship, and they can even apply to bring in their families as well. Based on what, again, going back to what so you measure, I'm an asylum seeker and I obtain, government benefits, whether it's food stamps or Medicaid, Medicare, whatever government subsidies exist. From what I understand, the asylum seekers are earning, they're earning much more than what their government benefits pay out. And so, it'll be interesting to look at those numbers, but asylum seekers seem to be that population, that segment of immigration where they are actually striving, they're moving forward, and becoming not a burden necessarily, but more of an asset, to our economy,
Correct.
to our country. And
Sure.
so,
And Joe, what do you see at for example, you're the director of Holding Institute. What do you see going on in terms of asylum? And again, we have those others, right, that we've talked about, the visa overstays, which is a different subject.
So I think we can talk about it in two ways, right? One of them was past administration, and then now, right? Okay. Past administration was crazy. Gene, we went in a matter of about 3 years, 3.5 years. Laredo saw about 400 something thousand people come through our doors
Annually or in that 3 year span?
in the 3 year span.
And is that after the Remain in Mexico policy was
Correct.
lifted?
Correct. Okay, so the numbers were ridiculous. I mean, they really were. Like I said, people don't cross through Laredo. They don't come through our
Right.
bridges. They don't come through our rivers, right? Because of whatever situation is going down in Nuevo Laredo. They go around us.
And
Right.
expand on that a little bit. Go ahead, just keep going. But
So Mexico, Laredo, we all know, is the largest land port, in the country, right? So 35 is a very valuable way of just very valuable, right? So, in Nuevo Laredo, the bad guys control everything. So if somebody comes in through Nuevo Laredo trying to seek asylum, they're going to get caught and they're going to get taxed for coming in through here, right? So let's say they get to Mexico, they get to Monterrey, so they go around Laredo. They either go through El Paso, Eagle Pass,
Del Rio, or
Cali,
further south.
over there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What Laredo has is that Laredo became very good at processing. Very good at processing. We had the largest processing center in the country.
That's when we had all the tents down.
That's when we had all the tents,
Yeah.
right? So we were getting people sent to Laredo from California, New Mexico, from everywhere, Arizona. Everyone was coming here to get processed, right?
Yeah.
They were processing. They could process up to 2,700 people a day. A day.
And did they have immigration lawyers and immigration judges ready to help in the
They
process?
had them.
Or
They were all Zoom.
this is all applications, but these weren't necessarily hearings, asylum hearings. These are all applications.
There were applications, and if they were going to see someone, they had them in Zooms.
Yeah.
They had a.
They keep them in the detention center,
Correct.
and there they give them access to a Zoom hearing. I know we have some people from GEO here.
Yeah.
They give them access to a Zoom
Yeah.
a Zoom hearing.
Yeah.
So then they got let go, right?
Right.
That part was very. How can I say it?
Well, it's a due process.
It was a due process, right? But people that we were getting, it was just the numbers were crazy, Gene.
Right.
One day we got 28 buses, 1,250 people in one day, right? So it was us, Catholic Charities, and we would move them from here to San Antonio so they can get onto their
Onto the final destination.
okay. That was back then.
Right.
Now this administration
Well, go back
crossings.
to in those 28 buses and those types of situations. How many unaccompanied minors did you all process?
We didn't get any.
Not through here.
No, they were sent somewhere else. Kids, unaccompanied minors, that was a whole different process.
Where did they go typically process?
There was center detention areas for kids.
Just specifically
Just
for the
because
unaccompanied minors.
it got to the point where kids were coming to the river
Mm-hmm.
with no parent, with their name and their age on their T-shirt,
That's it.
and that's it. So how are you going to put that child in a room full of adults? Right?
Yeah, no.
So
agreed.
we would get families, or we would get single males or single females, right?
That's it.
That's it. So fast forward to now, crossings are at an all-time low, which is great,
Yep.
right? Now we're seeing people that were caught in the interior, people that
After-
showed up to a court,
Or
and
did,
they got picked up at court.
or
People,
those who didn't show up to
or
court
people that didn't show up to court.
Or got arrested.
and got arrested for
Yeah.
another crime.
For another crime, for shopping at Home Depot, for taking your
Yeah.
kid to school, right? So back then there was a health risk, right? I mean, it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So we there at Holding, we became the first shelter across the country to vaccinate, right?
And those services were provided to them through the City of Laredo's health department, through the third parties.
Since they were homeless,
Uh-huh.
to say, right? Because they were just going to be let out.
Yeah.
We the system allowed us to put them in there as homeless. So because of homeless, the federal government
stepped in and
Stepped in.
provided funding for it. But the
provided.
services were provided through grants with the state or with the city, or were they third party like Clear Choice or something like that?
It was third party.
Third party.
Correct.
And not necessarily Clear Choice, and I say that,
Yeah,
and,
but- yeah.
but just only because as a reference point.
And one of the things I want to say about that also, Gene, about funding, because that was a big issue, right? All the money was going or whatever.
Yeah.
So at one point, I think Holding and Catholic Charities got $6 million,
Yikes.
right? We were awarded $6 million.
Right.
We had to spend the money
It's a reimbursement
to
contract.
reimbursement, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
if
a
we
reimbursement
didn't
contract.
spend it, we didn't get it, right? So we had to spend the money. So if we spend it on security, we spend it on medical, if we spend
Sure.
it on light, on food or whatever, we had to turn in everything.
To get reimbursed.
And then it had to be checked out. You know, there was
Verified.
check and balance, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we didn't get all that money, right? Al contrario,
They
after
still
everything,
owe you.
They still owe, right? But so now it's different. Now we're getting people that have kids here, have been here forever. You know, now we're getting the health issue isn't there
Right.
anymore as much as it was back then.
Right.
Right. So it's different. We will help. I mean, this is our thing at Holding. If we don't receive the families let's just say it's 3 families today.
Right.
If we don't receive them, they're gonna go put them in the plaza.
They're just going to drop them
They're
off.
just gonna drop them off somewhere because they need to be let out.
Right.
There's a law called the Flores law. That law doesn't allow a child to be in detention for more than 21 days.
They're there longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're there longer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, those are if we see anybody, we're probably going to see them because they're kind of getting close to that
To that time.
date, or ya se pasaron un poquito, right?
Well,
So-
speaking of getting close to that time frame, let's go ahead and take a commercial break here as we're getting close to that time, and we'll be right back with our co-host Joe Barron, Javier Montemayor, myself, as we talk a little bit about immigration from the asylum perspective, and we'll be right back.
Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life.
And we're back from our commercial break with the discussion we're having about immigration and immigration asylum. And one of the questions we were talking about during the break here is, where are these folks coming from? What's the country of origin for most of the folks coming through here that are being processed through here?
Now we are seeing people from Honduras, Guatemala, Colombia, but we're also seeing China, Russians, Afghanistan. We're seeing all kinds now.
Here's my conspiracy theory hat on for a second. I didn't have enough tinfoil because we used it for the baked potatoes of the last show. But a lot of these folks that are coming seeking asylum are all military-aged men that are coming from Russia and China and some of these other places. Is that still the case? And again, don't know what if that means anything, but that's one of the statistics that Trump talks about a lot.
Yeah, well, and that's the foreign policy aspect, the leverage that the United States has over some of these. They get a lot of intelligence from these people who come seeking asylum. They find out what the treatment is like, what the political views are, how they're dealing with militaries and things like that. If they're coming over with prior military experience and things, a lot of the intelligence is gathered from a lot of these asylum seekers.
And
as
we've
well.
seen people from albañiles to doctors to scientists,
All seeking asylum.
all seeking asylum. I mean, we've
Of some
seen
sort or another.
all kinds.
Why
of
the
that.
United States, though? Why don't they seek asylum in France or England or Germany or Switzerland?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Why come to the United? I know the United States has always been, the country of
The shining
of
beacon on the hill,
opportunity,
right?
The
Yeah.
opportunities here, and maybe
That's a great question.
We have better. I don't know if we have better living conditions.
Well, I mean, if
It's
you,
debatable, but
Joe, I'm gonna step on your toes really hard here. I don't know. The liberals of this country think that this country is horrible. So why would they want to come here? Why do those people want to come here if they feel we're such a ugly nation, such a bad nation, stained with the sin of slavery and all the other things that people say we are? Yet they keep pouring over. I mean, not so much now with the Trump administration and border security as it is, but they keep coming. They keep overstaying their visas. They still keep coming to the country one way or the other. Are we really that bad, or is this again? Put my
Or are you
tinfoil-
that bad or that good of a place to come?
that bad or that good? Well, that or, and this is my conspiracy theory hat again, are they coming because it's an invasion of sorts? They're just positioning their people in our country because, again, going back to the military-aged people, not necessarily talking about the families that are escaping poverty or persecution. And believe me, there's plenty of persecution across the world now against Christians, and a lot of the folks on TV have been silent about that. But again, having that discussion about who's coming through here, are they getting vetted? How are we vetting these asylum seekers, and what do we do going forward? And do we have an exit strategy for those whose asylum is rejected?
we got to check TikTok, I guess.
We got to go through TikTok.
Make sure it's,
I think, and I'm going to say this, right? In my opinion, any party that's in power can change the immigration law. Anybody can. It's just that it keeps them in line with their political party, right?
Yeah.
So you got one side, hey, build a wall, yay, and then you got the other side, like, hey, let everybody in, right? If both sides were to come together, I think both of them can come up with a good way of tackling immigration.
You ever notice the guy next to you doesn't work as hard as you do? And when he asks you to slow down, the reason he's slowing you down is because he wants to keep his job, wants to keep working, getting paid. I tend to think that politicians do the same thing, that they don't really want to solve the problem because maybe at the end of the day, they don't have a job. Maybe the bureaucrats, maybe not so much the politicians, but the bureaucrats. Hey, this is job justification. If I just process them, but I don't really figure out a way to stop them, I don't create the laws that keep them from coming or speed the process so they can come here legally and have a path to citizenship. I tend to believe that both parties are complicit in their inability or unwillingness to fix the issue.
because the other side it's a Republican idea. So as a Democrat, I can't vote for it, even though it may be a good idea. I can't
Yeah,
vote, and
that's-
vice versa. It's
it's
a
on the other-
Democratic idea.
Yeah.
I'm a Republican. I can't vote for it, even though it's a good idea. So at the end of the day, you get nothing accomplished because it's party politics, and so it's no longer about doing the right thing, but you go back to asylum, and so you start looking at what countries, Joe, do we have out there? What I think about it in terms of Mexico, because that's what we're used to, and a lot of the influx that's coming in. I don't see a lot of asylum seekers. I'm just venturing to get that. I don't think there's a lot of, maybe the cartels. Maybe now that they're described as terrorist organizations, perhaps that's created another situation. But Somalia, Cuba, some of these other countries, Venezuela now, maybe on there. And so the ones I see coming more are the ones who, we're used to coming to seek employment, coming to seek, a better life and send money back to their families.
Absolutely.
That's what I was used to seeing. And when you would, if you drive down Del Mar Boulevard at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you see the bus get there, and you see 20, 30 ladies get off the bus and they're walking down the street.
Yeah.
You know where they're going.
Where they're headed, yeah.
They're going to go work.
Yeah.
Those aren't asylum seekers. But their lives, they were still
Sure.
Mexicans. But the ones who are seeking the ones who are fearing persecution, the ones who are, you can't go back because you're going to get.
And so where do they go? I
jailed
mean,
and-
assuming that their asylum cases are rejected,
Where do you go?
and again, you can use somebody like Kilmar Obrego or one of these other guys that just doesn't want to go back to where he came from, regardless of whether he broke the law here or not. I'll just assume for the moment that he broke the law. Now he's got to go back. Where do you send him if he truthfully says, I don't want to go back because this place, I'm going to get killed in this place, or they're going to kill my family, or whatever the case may be? Where do you send them?
You have to ask their neighboring country if they would accept them. Like Venezuela,
Well, it's like one-
you would call Colombia
Yeah.
and ask, hey, and they'll go to Colombia.
But that's tantamount to walking the Hamptons and asking, hey, which one of these asylum seekers do you want to take in your house? All those folks in the Hamptons say not one. Put them on a bus, send them back to wherever you got them from.
Yep.
I mean, that's the issue at hand. We cannot continue to have all these people pour in. We don't need all of them here. We need some. And I'll tell you what, if anybody's ever read this by Dennis Nixon, Comments Since Border Security, this is an exceptional document. I mean, he wrote something that is just spot on. It would have been great if we could have had him come in and talk about this. Maybe on one of the other, when we kind of do a more global look at immigration. I mean, he talks about the need for human capital, people who can come in and work and support our economy. We're not having as many babies. So how are we going to feed this monstrous economy? Assume Trump does what he says he does and this economy blows up. Where are all the workers? Where are all the guys for all the factories that are coming back? And those are all legitimate questions that you've got to ask. And again, it's going to take parties to stop looking at things from a party perspective and just say, what's the right thing to do? My good friend Beto always says, you're never wrong to do the right thing.
Yeah, every day.
Absolutely right.
All
Yeah.
the time. All the
So I
time.
think we got a caller. Somebody was getting into the queue here. Let's see if I can open up the mic and see if I have a caller on the line. Caller, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. What's your question, caller?
All right. Well, first of all, enjoying listening to your show. First time caller. I would say long time listener, but it's only episode 2. So, but thank you guys. Y'all are doing an amazing job.
Optimistic.
So I got a couple of questions.
I'll take the first one. Let's hit it.
All right. So first question, listening to your stance, what you are talking about the Super Bowl and your numbers. Yeah, I think I only hit once. Sorry, Joe. I hear you didn't hit in the fourth quarter. I apologize. I'm sorry about that. But how did y'all really feel the diverse change that happened in the Super Bowl with the Spanish artists? Somebody not speaking English singing during the Super Bowl halftime. I know y'all talked about Nelson numbers and all that stuff also, but what do y'all truly feel about that? About his performance and what it means going forward?
For my part, like I said earlier, I have some biases because that's not my genre. It's not the music that I like or listen to on a regular basis. There is some of it that I like. I mean, Ricky Martin's music, I've got a couple of his albums, and I think I like his music fine. But I think in terms of what the NFL was trying to do, and maybe they missed, maybe they hit, is they want to expand their audience. That's why they're playing more games in Europe and more games in Latin America. Now, they're going to play in Australia this year coming. I think they're going to have 26 total games outside of the United States. Now, that either tells me that their audience is shrinking in the U.S. or that they're aggressively just trying to get bigger globally, right? Because ultimately, when we call this the world champions, but we're only talking about the U.S. There's no other countries that play in the Super Bowl or vie for the Super Bowl like they do with the World Cup. Mm-hmm. And secondly, I thought that the choice of a Spanish or Latin artist was somewhat disconnected from the cultural identity of the NFL's demographic, where I think Bad Bunny would have been even greater asset for performance would have been with FIFA and the World Cup that's coming. That's going to be, I mean, that's global. That's bigger than the NFL ever will be. And I think he would have been a great fit for that, just simply because the audience is more familiar with him than they are with the NFL's demographic audience. I mean, those are my thoughts.
But
Joe?
I don't think it's the issue of the artist, because he's not the first. Hasn't Shakira played wasn't she there before?
J-Lo
And he
and
was-
Shakira.
And he was on the show with Shakira, I think.
Yeah.
Now, this is not his first performance. In others, he was one of the guest artists there as
So
well.
I don't know if it was such a big deal because of the artists that they picked or because of the times that we're in.
The controversy.
The controversy.
It could very well be. And like I said, no press is bad press. If anything, there were eyeballs watching it to see whether it was going to be great or awful, but there were more eyeballs to it. So
I think the week before
Goodell did right.
The week before he had won maybe 4 or 5 Grammys.
Yeah.
And so I think they're trying to bring the top-notch artist, to promote the game. It brings in viewership. It brings in investors. It brings in more people wanting to advertise. Personally, my genre, my playlist is filled with 80s, 90s, 70s, and some today. And I enjoyed Prince. I loved Aerosmith. Those I would have liked to see something Matchbox 20 or even Bruno Mars. But that's just my preference. But I think the kids enjoyed it, and I think he did well. And based on the reports I've seen on social media, he surpassed expectations.
Even more than Kendrick Lamar did, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers were about 10 million more than Kendrick Lamar, which had a great show, by the way. Again, one that's not my genre, but, my kids listened to it, so every once in a while I'd hear it, so I knew the artist that was coming on, and I understood the lyrics.
And caller, yeah, you're right. I missed it with 2 minutes left in the game.
What's your other question, caller?
Okay, my other question, being that the season that we're in right now, in case y'all didn't know, it's Girl Scout cookie season time.
Oh, good Lord.
What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? And I'm going to hang up and listen to you guys. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, thanks for
Thank you for
calling,
the
and
questions.
I'll tell you right now before you hang up, it's Thin Mints. Thin Mints for me.
Those are good.
I'm interested in tasting the new. There's some new Girl Scout cookies. I think they're kind of along the Oreo, I guess tasting or in that type of cookie. My problem is that these what are they? The sandy. They're like a butter cookie.
Okay. Yeah.
That I've. I eat everything that I see in front of me, especially when
I'm a
Girl Scout
peanut
cookie.
butter.
Oh, peanut butter's
Peanut
yours.
butter cookie, yeah.
Nice.
My second is Samoa's. Those are my second. The coconut one with the chocolate striping on it.
I gotta stop by and buy some Girl Scout cookies.
There you go, Joe.
I remember they used to
I'm
go
on a
door to
24-hour
door.
fast here, guys. You're killing me with the cookies, man.
Yeah, well, Lent is coming, so it's a good time to start cutting back. But the Girl Scouts were always going door to door. Now it's inbox me if you're interested. They used to set up at the HEBs. They used to have a little table out there, and
That's right.
But maybe we can get some Girl Scouts to donate some cookies here to the show and advertise for them.
Well, absolutely. We'd love to have them come on and tell us about their award-winning sales. Now, what do they get these days? I mean, before it used to be like a Schwinn bicycle or
That's right.
dollhouse or something. Wonder what they're giving away nowadays for the Girl Scout that sells the most cookies. iPad,
Laptops.
computer, laptops, trip to Vegas.
Trip to Vegas.
Trip to Vegas. So
Yeah.
Maybe we can bring some on the show next time.
hey,
I would
Taste
like.
the new flavors.
I will tell you that yesterday I got a really good gift by one of the young girls. Her last name is Gonzalez. She's my neighbor, and she asked me if I would be a taste tester for her. And so I said sure. So she brought me a plate of peach cobbler, two little squares of peach cobbler, and some pecan. It's like a bread, a pecan bread, and so I found out that I tasted it and I gave her my compliments. It was delicious, delicious desserts. So she is part of the Alexander High School cooking team that they have, the barbecue team.
Like not a culinary class, but like
Right,
a barbecue club.
It's a barbecue club.
They won state last year.
They won state last year.
No
And so
fucking way.
she brought me these and today she sent me a picture of herself that she won first place in the competition. And mind you, they make everything out in the barbecue pits.
Yeah.
They don't have an oven. They don't
All out
do
in the
anything
pit.
like that. So all on the
Does United have a team like this?
Yeah.
I believe they do.
United,
They do?
Nixon. Yeah, they're competing.
Yo, United, what's going on here? Taste testers, Joe and I are alum. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
So I'm
They
trying
compete.
to find her name here, but she did send me her picture yesterday, this afternoon, showing me her first place medal. So I'd like to congratulate her.
Outstanding.
Talking about Girl Scout cookies, she brought me these desserts that she made.
That's
And,
awesome.
I don't know why they thought I was. a
I
good
tried
taster.
making for the first time, and it came out very good. Simple, fast, arroz con leche.
arroz con leche.
First time I ever made it. Perfect.
Don't get me started on bananas and rice, man. That's a whole other topic.
Isn't it like tapioca?
Más o menos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost
it's
the
like
same
tapioca.
thing.
Was it good?
Delicious.
All right. Well, we're going to be right back. We've got a commercial break. I see my producer kind of waving her hands at me. And we'll be right back after this brief message.
Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life.
And we're back from our commercial break here. And during the break, we started talking about what our next show was going to be. Our next show will probably feature this lively discussion on public corruption and what that looks like. And again, not unique to Laredo, something that FBI has a public corruption unit.
Yep.
They go all over the country looking for public corruption, for fraud and other things. And not unique to Laredo. I know a lot of folks think that it is, and maybe in some places along the border happens more than other places, but
Yeah.
it's not unique to Laredo, and it's something that needs to be rooted out, and something that we all agree as taxpayers that that's not something we want to see happen in our communities at the state level or at the federal government level either. So, we'll
Or
be talking
local
about that.
level.
Or local level.
Or local level.
A couple hot topics that'll be kind of happening, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to talk about them. Is city manager's going through a review. They had a session the other day, executive session, and he's got his contract up for renewal. Closures. There's some school closures that are happening, and some discussions that are happening now. I think, Counselor, you were telling us that one of the other districts is closing schools now.
Judson is just voted to close about 6 of its campuses.
Wow.
So it's happening all over the state. I've given numerous interviews on this topic, and there's a variety of reasons why we are getting to that point. It's just, we've got to start right-sizing and it's a very controversial topic. No matter at any district
Sure.
across the state. This is not only statewide, and it's nationwide also. But the public corruption is a topic that is very, it's very sensitive. It's people are always loud about this. I've been involved in numerous political corruption representations of individuals here locally and in other cities, and so I've familiarized myself with some of the rules, both federal. A lot of these government agencies have integrity units. Laredo Police Department has their integrity unit as well, and so it should be an interesting discussion about that.
Isn't it when you take an office, you take an oath too?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean-
absolutely. You take an oath, and I think a lot of people who, and again, when we talk about public corruption, we're talking about everything from official oppression to
Bribery.
fraud, bribery, all of it. Not just the stealing of money,
Yeah.
for example, but nepotism, favoritism, those kind of things. Awarded contracts to people who probably didn't deserve those contracts.
Kickbacks.
Kickbacks. Look at the entire gamut of all of that, and some of it, doesn't breach the legal, right? But it does breach the ethical,
Sure.
right? Is it
And,
right?
and that's a big one there.
'Cause it's a big one,
I
right?
mean, it's like, no hagas cosas buenas que parezcan malas.
There you go.
Right.
Absolutely, right? You don't even want the appearance of impropriety.
Oh yeah, no, that's a big issue, and I've said it before. Just because it's illegal doesn't make it right. You got that appearance of impropriety always
Absolutely.
looming,
You
and
bet.
so I'm that's going to be an interesting topic. And,
Yeah, and having served on the Ethics Commission for the City of Laredo, and having worked with Jaime Flores, the former city attorney, to create the first ethics ordinance in Laredo when I was still on council, to me, that's one of the most important things. And again, there are things that look inappropriate that aren't, but those are the things that we want to also be able to root out and create the greater transparency. Hats off to the board members and council members who strive to kind of open up the books and show us what's going on. There's a lot to be thankful for in those people, but then there are a lot of folks who don't necessarily want you to see what's happening behind the curtain.
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz isn't the Wizard of Oz,
That's right.
right?
No, so it's going to be an interesting topic.
Yeah, and then we've got another one further down. Our first live show will be in March. Our second, our last of our pre-recorded shows as we continue to work out the kinks in the caller segment, and obviously we're going to be using the live feeds from our YouTube and social media platforms to read off questions. The program will probably expand to an hour, and we will be live in March. It'll be our first live show. Joe, got to show up on time, buddy.
I will. I will.
And the discussions will get livelier. Right? Obviously, as we get more fan engagement and folks coming in, it's going to get livelier. Also, a shout out to some of our sponsors, as well as some of the folks. I mean, this week I had my son had a birthday, and I took him to Tacos del Pepe, and he's a maestro de tacos. The guy was, that food was absolutely incredible.
Where's this at?
Do you know where Stitch and Print is in Yukon, right there
Yeah.
on McPherson?
Yeah.
Right around the
I've been
corner,
there.
it's a hole in the wall. Next
Really?
to Savora's on one side, Cardona Accounting is on the other, and he's wedged in there.
Yeah.
Holy
They're really delicious tacos.
cow.
Really good.
Wow.
Yeah. And by the way, he just leased the old Taco Palenque on San Bernardo and Man Road.
Okay.
It's getting an Austin-style paint job. I don't know if you've seen it. It's got all the artwork on the outside.
That's
Looks
that's
great.
what's going to be there.
That's what's going to
Wow.
be there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to go and visit the guy, man. So,
We'll have to.
So-
Absolutely.
So I don't know how we always end up with food at the end of the show.
Well, maybe that's going to be the thing. I mean, we're always talking about food at the end of the show. Maybe somebody will send us food. Who
Yeah.
knows? We'll
Yeah.
see.
or a bottle of scotch.
Or a bottle of
Or a bottle of
scotch.
One of
I
those.
saw one hiding in the weeds there. Great show, guys. Thank you for as always, for joining us, and we look forward to having you come back and be part of the show. If you want to be part of the show, if you want to be a guest speaker, by all means, email us. There's a email info at I think it's info at 3minuteamic@gmail.com, and or you can just DM us through our social media platforms, and we'll get you on the show if you want to be on there. If you have a topic you want to talk about,
By all
That's the
means,
topic.
yeah, send it in.
Bring it on.
That'll be good.
Joe, anything else happening this week you think is going to be important? Government shutdown?
The what?
Government shutdown?
No. No, I think we'll be good. There's some issues coming up with this immigration thing, but we'll talk.
We got a part 2 to this out
Yeah,
of a
we
3
can
or
do a
4
part
part
two.
series, right?
I think so.
We'll cover it in the next one.
Yes, sir.
Counselor?
I'm looking forward to see how this basketball thing turns out. You know, I know United South is playing LBJ tomorrow. Alexander and United are playing at United tomorrow. This is the boys. The girls are also playing as well, and so that's going to determine the playoffs for the District 6A here locally. And
Interesting.
you know, best of luck to all the teams that are out there. And I know Nixon is performing really well. I think they were
I
undefeated.
think they're undefeated. I think they're
in
13
their district. So
Yeah.
good luck to everybody, and you know, we wish you well in the playoffs, and I hope to go catch one of your games soon. You know, I really enjoy getting out there and
Sure.
checking out those games. They're a lot of fun and a lot of hype, and they're good rivalries,
Good
solid
rivalries.
rivalries. So
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that. So,
Well, and speaking of good luck and good wishes, congratulations and good luck to you on the bench
Well,
as
that's
our new
right.
associate municipal court
That's right.
judge.
Happy congratulations.
Well deserved. I
Well
think you'll
deserved.
do really well. It's
thank you.
you know I've often said about that court, it is not a punitive court. It is a court of compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want people to follow the rules. We're not trying to. I dislike municipal courts in certain communities that I've been witness to, where it's all about making quota, making money. It's really about compliance. How do we get you to follow the rules?
Yeah.
That's it.
No, no,
That's what we want more than anything else.
You know, I've dedicated a lot of my time and my profession, my career to working with the people, and I hope to continue that on the bench. You know, serving the citizens of Laredo. And at some point, you know, I'd like to have a discussion with Judge Dominguez and Judge David about expanding to some of the western parts of Laredo and the southern parts of Laredo and eastern parts of Laredo to give people more access to the courts and
There you go.
to their day in court. So, you know, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Fantastic.
To see how it goes. So,
Looking forward to it, and I think you'll do a fantastic job with it.
appreciate
And
that.
we'll look forward to our next show. Please join us. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll drop our next episode on the 24th, I believe, is our next episode will drop. This one drops on the 10th. The next one drops on the 24th, and then we go live.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Let's go.
Thank you, everybody, for being involved, and those that are behind the scenes helping us run this program. And you know, we hope to have you back again.
Soon. So
Soon.
for 3 Men and a Mic, Joe Barron, Javier Montemayor, and Jim Belmares, have a good night, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.